So my week was already off to a pretty interesting start when I discovered that Javier Milei, who is the favorite to win Argentina's election, has a connection to the World Economic Forum. But when I dove a little bit deeper, I was absolutely shocked at what I found. So today we're going to explain why we should be very cautious of Javier Milei by looking at two presidents in Brazil and Peru who both have connections to the World Economic Forum and both won very controversial elections in the past 12 months. And we're also going to be looking at the Brazilian CBDC. So the same country that has a World Economic Forum elected president now has a central bank digital currency running on top of Ethereum, which can actually freeze its users' funds. So we're going to start to piece all of these dots together. Let's dive straight into the recent news of the week, which of course is Javier Milei. So freedom lovers around the world are rejoicing as Javier Milei is now the favorite to win Argentina's election going down in October 2023. I recently recorded a video on this one early in the week over on the Money Matters YouTube channel, but we didn't discuss all of these other interesting connections that I have found in the past couple of days since recording that one. So obviously Javier here is listed on the World Economic Forum's website. In that video that I did record, I asked people to supply me some evidence. Prove to me that Javier is a good guy and he actually does mean all of the crazy things that he has been saying on national TV, calling central banks a scam, calling inflation a hidden tax, and supporting sound money and Bitcoin. And I was a little bit surprised and disappointed that not one person could actually show me the evidence of why Javier's listing on the World Economic Forum is nothing to worry about. So let's dive deeper. We're going to turn our attention to Brazil and Peru in just one moment, but I want to remind you guys, this is straight out of Klaus Schwab's playbook. Let's not forget this very, very viral video of Klaus Schwab that did go viral over the recent years.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. Mm-hmm. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Klaus said it himself. He likes to infiltrate governments all around the world. And in that video, he did actually mention Argentina by name and also mentioned the fact that he is proud to actually control 50% of the cabinet members in Canada's democratically elected government. So let's move on a little bit and see what's happening in Brazil. So Lula da Silva is now the president of Brazil. As we can see, he has connections to the World Economic Forum, but that's not the most controversial part about what's happening in Brazil. The former president of Brazil, I believe his name is pronounced Bolsonaro, he is actually banned from running in any elections for the next 8 years because apparently he's been accused of election fraud. Now, I'm not going to dive into any speculation here because I am currently filming this video from Brazil, so I want to be very, very careful about what I say, and I'm actually headed to Argentina next, so I'm also going to be very careful about what I say here. But I'm just going to ask you guys the question: what do you think about election fraud? Do you really think Joe Biden was the overwhelming favorite in America, the man who poops his pants and falls down airplane stairs? I'm not so sure that he really is the leader of the greatest country in the world, but I'll leave you guys to do the speculation in the comments down below about election fraud. I'm just going to move on and just say, hey, it's a little bit interesting. That's all I'm going to say. But that's not the only really interesting thing happening in Brazil right now. Brazil has just launched a central bank digital currency pilot program. Now, this CBDC is interesting because it's actually riding on top of Ethereum. We're going to get to that in just a second, but I want to highlight the fact that, hey, a few developers dug into the source code regarding this Brazilian central bank digital currency, and they were pretty shocked at what they found. They found that the Brazilian government can actually freeze all of your transactions using that central bank digital currency. So imagine having your life savings in that CBDC, and in the words of the source code in the Brazilian CBDC, they can drain your account and block transactions. That's pretty scary, but it's just another reminder. Wherever you see links to the World Economic Forum, you should be very, very cautious. Now, this is interesting, and it is something I talk about a lot, so I'll keep it brief. But we all know that one of those Ethereum Foundation members actually has ties to the World Economic Forum. You can see it here on the website, and I'm shocked that they don't actually try to hide these things. I mean, if you do try to piece together these pieces of evidence that are in the public space, everything begins to make a little bit more sense. And another thing that's really strange about the World Economic Forum in Latin America is what happened in their 2022 presidential election. Peru, for the first time in their 201-year history, elected a female president. And that's great. You know, it's great for the diversity and the, feel-goodness that's going on in society today. But I'm more interested about the fact that she is connected to, once again, the World Economic Forum. It really makes you begin to ask the question, is Javier Milei simply the next puppet to be installed that has World Economic Forum connections? I hope that's not true. Javier Milei said some fantastic things about sound money, freedom, and called central banking a scam. But lots of people speculate about who in society is actually controlled opposition. So I would love for you guys to let me know in the comments down below. Is Javier Milei to be trusted? I don't know, but I personally hope he is, because he is the only politician in the world who is making any sense, apart from Bukele in El Salvador, actually. I think if elected, Javier Milei could actually potentially turn Argentina into a Bitcoin mecca, okay? Argentina is actually one of the countries in Latin America that sees enormous amounts of tourism. And if they made Bitcoin legal tender, that number would only absolutely skyrocket. But furthermore, what kind of demand is that going to bring to Bitcoin? I mean, Argentina has a population of 46 million people. They're not a small country. And we know that the amount of Bitcoin sitting on exchanges is diminishing at the fastest rate in Bitcoin's 14-year history. So I believe we could see some serious fireworks if a country like Argentina does get into Bitcoin. And if you want to see some really bullish numbers about what could happen to Bitcoin if a country like Argentina did adopt Bitcoin, you're going to love the recent video that I did record on that topic. You can find that one right there. But if you're more interested to check out all of the very interesting statistics I believe I have found that suggest the 2025 Bitcoin bull market will be unlike anything we've ever seen before, you can definitely check out the video I record on that topic right there. And with all that said, if you made it this far, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments down below why you think I'm crazy or I'm misguided. And I hope you enjoyed the videos that I did slap on screen right there.